Okay, so we're going to go over a retro for our super sprint. So we're just going to kick it off right away with going over things that went well for engineering. Lauren, why don't you go ahead with your three first points?
Things that went well. The second iteration of applying the design system to the topics template went really well. Sanmi did a very good job, quick turnaround. That was one day, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that's one of my points too for things that went well. I think the refinement process was pretty smooth. I think also just the way we're housing our epics and issues to do that. I don't know, Lauren, if you have any feedback on that, but I think collecting feedback from external non-digital experience team members in a separate issue and then, you know, putting those in an epic in the proper iterations went pretty well for me. It made it easy to review them and kept them tidy.
Yeah, I agree. The getting the first one out, which had a bunch of infrastructure architecture in the background going on, it was important, but then being able to I like to call like adding the wrapping paper, making it really look good. That was great. And he knocked it out of the park on that one. The architecture went well. This is like the first iteration of our CMS architecture and how our templates are going to get built. So there was a lot of legwork in figuring that out, but we got iteration 1 done and we can continue improving on that. And the review of MRs, other team members stepped in and helped review the code that was getting pushed out, and that's good. How about you?
From a UX perspective, again, the reviewing process for the topics pages went really well. Being able to use Netlify on my local to do UX reviews was super helpful. And the MR process, as you mentioned, I think that even though it did get long and there were a lot of threads in it, it was just the first push, and I think that it's normal that it got so bulky. And then creating like a second iteration to collect, you know, refinements, the wrapping paper feedback was perfect. In my notes here, it kind of overlaps with what we've already talked about with just Sanmi jumping in and doing like a super job, you know, on the final hour, just getting those design refinements done. Blew my mind when I kind of refreshed the page and I was like, am I looking at Figma or the real page?
Wow, there it is.
Yeah, like in like 4 hours. Yeah, and as Lauren mentioned as you mentioned about the architecture, the first iteration of the page like works well, it looks well, nothing's super wonky. Blows my mind that we are here already. Mm-hmm. We also worked on the blog, or at least UX worked on blog layout for this sprint. Again, overall smooth process from discovery to wireframing. Rebecca Dodd was super proactive, is proactive. She's quick to respond. She provided really smart and thoughtful feedback. I also thought that workshopping the page with our internal design experience team was really insightful, useful, and it was fun. I think that our team, it was important for everyone to feel included, and it was important for us to get feedback from others, because you can just really, me and you know, we can just be in our vacuum, and so it's nice to open it up to others early on in the process.
Yeah.
Okay, next, things to improve on. My note is first, just how we communicate our releases. I think that once we start posting things public, would be important that things are posted with context and after they've been refined, so that things feel a little bit less panicky and urgent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. my common things to prove on was the merge request scope. This particular one got too large, in my opinion. There's 80 plus commits, 18 files changed, over 40 pipelines. And the length of it, it was open for 4 weeks because it's a super sprint, but it made it hard to rebase with master. In the end, I couldn't even rebase it, which I don't like doing. I like to have a clean commit history. I was able to squash the commits into one when I merged it, so that worked. But I also don't know how we could have avoided that in this one, because it was really the first push having to get it out.
When we integrate this into the blog, will it be a similar MR structure, or because now it's integrated, it'll be a little bit less bulky?
Blog, what I would recommend doing is we build the template first. So we apply the new template to the blog, to a blog post, push that live, it's good to go. And then we tie it into Netlify CMS in the second MR. So they'd be two separate, because this one, it was a new template and Netlify CMS.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess even though that could have gone better, there's no action item associated to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
We don't have any action items, it looks like then, other than planning for our next sprint.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't stop recording because I'm not recording.
See ya.